Okay. Hello, hello. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Okay, cool. The audio mix sounds good. Alright, cool. Yeah. So I think I'm good. Let me just put some stuff away. Okay. I'm pretty sure that I am ready. Alright, yeah. Awesome. I actually had time to stream this early because I didn't. Well, my body is a wreck at the moment, and it needs some. It just needs to rest. It needs to, like, not do anything other than, like, anything that's away from, like, physical demanding activities. And I screwed up on Thursday of this week where I was physically exhausted, I was mentally exhausted, and, like, I kind of forgot that I'm supposed to really just back off and back down from my training in such a way that if I still want to train, I have to take into consideration I what calculations I have to facilitate for the training numbers, as well as what necessary preparations I need to partake in such a way that will allow my body to properly undertake the effort of training at a lighter capacity so that I can facilitate active recovery, which in other words in training is called deloading. So I didn't do that on Thursday. I was being stubborn. I was an idiot. And going into Friday, I was like, dude, I feel so bad. Like, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I felt like abused. And I was like, I remembered that was the entirety of the reason of why I stopped training back in 2016. and like which began like my descent, and things didn't really like recover until post 2017, and even then it's kind of like I didn't really feel like I was active in melting the frozen episode of which I was in. So I felt as though that when it came down to those particular shenanigans up to today, I think it like
Looks like you've got an empty container there, huh? Feel free to submit junk like that to Bridges. You might not have a use for it, but we do.
I think that it is upon my due diligence that I should remember that era of time when I completely just collapsed under like everything. And I think a lot of it was definitely my fault because I didn't understand like what my limitations were.
By handing over excess materials to a facility, you can increase the amount stored on site. Now, these materials can then be used later for equipment fabrication and so forth. Just remember that each facility has separate stores and that the amount on hand differs from site to site. Don't get carried away.
And I didn't really understand that like it's okay to not like take my own body to the realms of hell and chain myself there for the sake of like progress, for the sake of changing something. And it was a very difficult, and I still struggle with it, to be honest. I have difficulty I have difficulty applying the understanding that I can back down and back off and just chill out, rest, and recuperate so that I can live to fight another day. And that's something I really struggle with because like all I really know how to do is just keep fighting, to keep moving forward, to keep on keeping on. And it is a very difficult process because I have what would be considered to be a speculatively a tenacious desire to just keep going, to just keep fighting, to keep moving forward, and to keep on keeping on. Because what is going to change if I don't keep going? And I think that just as much as the way I treat my training, where if I'm gonna train like my chest, my shoulders, my triceps a lot, I have to balance it out by training my back, my posterior deltoids, and my biceps a lot. There has to be balance. There has to be something to counter these forces that are driving me forward. I have to make sure that within this path, this road, I have to make sure that within due diligence of my practices, my lifestyle, I'm doing whatever it takes to make sure that I am not just lighting the hellfire that will forge the path in front of me. I am also doing my best to just sit down on the side from time to time and just chill the fuck out, rest, recuperate, and like give myself time to just breathe. Because I have a tendency to forget that I need that. And I think that when it comes down to those particular shenanigans, I have to remember the. How do I say this? I have to remember from whence I came. And It's not easy because I hate thinking back to the past of which I have abandoned, with all of the people that I have left behind, both people, majority of the people who I considered to be honestly not good people, and the people who are like true and tried good, like actually good, like maybe one or two people out of the many who I have left behind. I have regrets. I feel terrible. I feel horrible about what I have done to forge the path ahead of me. I left behind so many people. I've left behind everything and everyone. All because
Sam, if you stumble across any memory chips on the road, be sure to submit them via the nearest terminal. There's no telling what kind of rare and valuable data they might contain. You're sure to make someone very, very happy with your contribution.
all because like yeah, within my desire to leave, pretty much destroy the past, destroy everything, and reach ground zero once again. I felt, I feel as though that there should have been another path. There should have been a way out that was not as destructive as what I picked. And I am sad. And honestly, like, I feel heartbroken by the choices that I've made. And I hate that. I hate that at the time I only saw this choice and path almost as if I instinctively resonated with this warpath.
So you're a treasure hunter in your spare time, huh? It's funny. I didn't think you had any.
Thank you for your contribution.
And I'm not entirely sure how I can atone for what honestly feels like my sins. I don't know how I can bear this weight that has been haunting me since then. I don't know what to do about this entity that sort of dwells within me. And I just don't know. And a lot of like what I'm doing these days is like seeking just solace and open arms from my compatriots, and I fight back against those who I feel are not worthy to be in my life, because they are the ones who serve as impediments to my growth, my journey, and I have absolutely no remorse against those who think that they deserve or feel entitled to something from me just because we have known each other from whatever era, episode, or document of time that we can look at in our respective lives. I am intolerant towards those people because it is indescribably incompetent that these people think that they deserve anything from me when they cannot even do anything for themselves. Some of these people are so questionable, and I don't understand how in their right mind that they think that they deserve anything from me when they have only facilitated their own arrogance and their ignorance when it comes down to thinking that what they do is the most correct, and that everyone should submit to their will, submit to their arrogance, submit to their ignorance, especially from the perspective that they don't understand that certain perspectives that they have in particular are perspectives of when they are mentally stuck in an episode of time that they never move forward from. And it is so frustrating when these people try to like pressure me in such a way that when they approach me and try to think that they know better, they speak with such contentious, pretentious, and presumptuous tone, and they don't even know it. And it is a representation of how people don't want to have and spin this self-awareness that will shed light on their questionable shenanigans. And I think that it is one of the most frustrating vectors of conflict that I have to deal with time and time again, because I'm already fighting this, what feels like, I'm fighting what feels like a war that I was born into since the fruition of my life. And it sucks. I hate saying that because it fucking blows. And it's not something that I like admitting, because it is such a frustrating topic, such a frustrating vector that undulates in my life and, quite frankly, haunts me. And it is so frustrating and annoying when people don't understand what that feels like. To feel as though I was born into a war that I had no control over, and I only had to learn how to fight from the fruition of my life, from the very start. And it is questionable, honestly, very questionable when people feel as though they know better when they don't even know how to conduct their own life with a harmonious symphony that can lead them into fulfillment and worthiness. And I just don't have the time in my life and in my heart to give any room to them. And I cannot bring myself to facilitate any, honestly, any care for it at all. And I am honestly not sorry about that. I am who I am, and I am not sorry for it at all. I am sorry for what I've done. I am sorry for who I've abandoned. I am sorry for who I've left behind. But I am not sorry for who I've become. But I think that I I don't want to excuse anything from myself. I think that's unfair to the people who I've left behind, and I think that's unfair to myself for being the perpetrator of abandonment. I think it is unfair that how do I say this? I think it is very irresponsible of me to not acknowledge the sins of my past. I think that it is upon my due diligence and the necessary gravity of the situation, as well as my actions going forward, to learn as much as possible as to why I was such a fucking horrible person. It is... I think that if I want to be a better person, if I want to reach the likelihood of ever becoming a good person, I think that I have to learn and I have to undergo this pain and punishment. Because if I cannot tolerate this undulation of trial and tribulation, if I cannot find it within myself to live through this hellfire that burns inside of me, I cannot change, and there will be no change. I have to fight. I have to keep going, because the people in my life, the people that I love, the people that I care about,
Hey, Sam, you could probably get that bike running again if you charged it with a generator.
they
Why not
fucking
give it a try?
deserve better. It's like I need to have something to show for all of this war and hellfire in my past. And
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID.
I have to keep going. I just have to keep going, regardless of the weight of my sins that I bear in my past.
Decontaminating suit. Rest is advised. Footwear
No matter what, I just have to keep going. And honestly, nothing else matters. No one else matters. For the people that I love, for the people that I care about, for the people that I live for, no one else, nothing else. They all
Could use some water.
will serve as simply impediments towards the growth and improvement that I am trying to facilitate. And if anyone would like to enter my life again from my past and infiltrate the grounds of who I've become and who I am trying to become for the people that I have now, I can only reject them, ignore them, and escape from them, because they do not deserve to be in my life.
Just a whole mess of aches and pains, ain't you?
And I don't care. I really don't care. standard orders, so it's not from. Oh, okay. But that's a lot. So let me the pre-Stranding movie footage. Since I'm already going there, I might as well. The mule camp is rough though. I mean, I'm still going there because how I operate in this game. I will, if I'm going in one direction, I'm going all the way to the end, so that I make things as efficient as possible, in such a way that I started in that forest over there to the top left. I'm going downwards. I enter the distribution center west of Capital Knot City. I'm here, and I delivered what I could. Now I'm gonna make my way northeast to that distribution center, deliver what I need to do there, deliver what I need to bring there, and then whatever I need to, if I have the available capacity, pick up whatever I need to bring towards the southeast area. And I think that is the best way for me to conduct my gameplay, because I don't want to continuously go back and forth if in such a way that is not efficient. I'm gonna craft one more boot because I need to. I need to replace the current boot. And then I have to recycle this one. Okay, cool. This is... God, I fucking love this game. This game is so nice. It's just being able to, like, chill compared to, like, let's say, for example, as a reference point, last night I was playing Hades, and I increased the heat. I first increased it from 27 to 32. I increased the heat settings in particular that I utilized was, I believe it was increased damage from enemies and decreased restoration from health items. And I went 3 up for damage from enemies and 2 up for restoration decreased. And I completely got, like, my ass kicked in. Completely. I just wasn't ready, and it's working in what feels like exponential tandem with the increased move speed and attack speed for the enemies. So whatever damage that gets inflicted upon me, I feel the pain, and like I can see the pain. So, but I still want to keep these settings, but I realized that 32 heat was a little too much of a jump. So instead of committing, I backed down on the damage from the enemies. I decreased it by 2, and now I'm working with 30 heat. And I'll see how it goes going forward. And I was working with, like, Aspect of Rama on the Heart-Seeking bow. And I love that bow. Oh my god, that bow is so good. It's just... How do I say this? It is just... not what I'm used to. I'm used to using, I think Aspect of Charon or Karen, and the other one is Aspect of Hera, I believe. Aspect of Hera. And like those two are like my all-time favorites. Karen or Charon, that one, if you throw your attack onto the enemy, then your special will act as like heat-seeking projectiles. And what's it called? When it comes down to that in comparison to Aspect of Hera, I believe I'm getting the name correctly. It's so hard for me to remember these names. But Aspect of Hera, the attack is regular, the special is regular, but the cast, it gets imbued upon the attack, so that if you were to imbue it 3 times, your attack that gets thrown onto the enemy will act as if it's an explosive, and it all collides all at once. So it's pretty sick. So with Aspect of Rama, how it differs is that your special, instead of spraying out like a fan, it'll tunnel in. It's really nice. It has the same projectile path as the attack. It is honestly really sick. I just don't know how to use it anymore. And additionally, the specials effects, how it works is that one is able to, I think it is the special. The special enacts an effect onto the enemy where damage on the attack, what's it called? The special enacts an effect onto the enemy where the attack or special, the damage from those 2 particular vectors of, I guess, quote unquote, command onto the enemy, those particular damage numbers will also affect the original enemy that was affected by the special, if that makes sense. And I think that it is such a cool weapon. It is so cool. But I suck at using it right now because I haven't had any practice. So I think I need to commit to using it and keep practicing in 30 heat so that I can better understand what my style of gameplay and my combat capacity will need in order to be refined. So I think that it is going to be a very cool but frustrating journey, but in the totality of things, it's going to be fun. Like, it is damn good fun. I was reviewing the footage, like, from last night, and I was like, holy shit, I suck, but oh my god, this was fun. Check on BB. And then there are more weapons I already picked out, like other aspects that I think it's Aspect of Beowulf on the Shield of Chaos. And then
You okay?
Aspect of Eris on the I believe it's a gun. And what else did I pick out?
You okay?
I can't remember. Oh, Aspect of Gilgamesh on the Twin Fists. Aspect of Achilles on the Spear, Eternal Spear. And honestly, with the, I think it's Aspect of Nemesis on the Stygian Blade. I think I'm gonna stick with that. It is the most like conducive to my gameplay. Everything else I suck at, and I don't like using Arthur's aspect because it is so slow. I'll try it, but I know I will completely collapse under the style of what is demanded in my heat settings. Okay, let me start with this one. Quality first. How's BB doing, Sam? You've managed to avoid autotoxemia altogether. By the way, I've been wondering, how are your porter grades these days? Getting better and better, I imagine. Or maybe you don't really care about that stuff. Well, in case you do, I thought I might give you a quick primer. Since I know it can be confusing, Bridges has developed a unique system to evaluate porter performance, and it focuses on 5 categories: cargo condition, delivery volume, speed, bridge link, and miscellaneous. Obviously, the aim of the game is to get high grades in all 5 categories. If you ask me, though, you should prioritize cargo condition. Absolutely. I mean, what's the point of lugging something halfway across the continent if it's smashed to bits in the process? Absolutely. Sure, some people aren't all that bothered, some will even let you get away with up to 50% damage or so, but come on. Imagine if you ordered a dozen thingamajigs and half of them were delivered broken. No, it's definitely better to put condition first. Absolutely. Treat your cargo with care and respect, and you'll be rewarded with way more likes. Dope. Trust me, that was my motto when I was a porter. It wasn't always easy, as you can imagine. Sometimes things got dicey, but I learned to hang in there and deliver my cargo in one piece. You'd do well to bear that in mind. Sam, after all, you've got the potential to be a way porter than I ever was. Sick. Still alive, new guy? Sam, how are you doing out there? For a newbie, you're quite the workhouse, huh? Timefall's probably taking its toll on your equipment, am I right? Maybe some of your kits not even usable anymore. Well, don't jump the gun and throw that stuff away just yet. One thing you can do is take your old equipment to delivery terminal and recycle it. You can then fabricate a shiny new whatever to use instead. Don't know if you're aware, but the recycling system is operated by the Bridget Strand, Bridget Strand Foundation. That's right. The president herself set it up as a means to convert busted tools and gear back into usable resources. On the other hand, if your equipment's only halfway broke but you still wanna part ways, you could use a share locker to donate it to another porter whose need is greater than yours. You may well end up getting a like or two for your generosity, never mind the warm, fuzzy feeling of having helped your fellow man. Of course, the system works both ways, meaning you can snag stuff other porters have put in share lockers too. Excuse me. If you're the one... What? Is that a typo? If you are... Yeah, if you are the one who could do with the helping hand. That's a typo. Anyway, both the recycling system and the share lockers have their uses, and it's up to you to pick which method best suits your needs at any given moment. You've still got a lot to learn, I guess, but you'll have it all figured out in no time. You've got high hopes for you, kid. True. Cargo quantity and your porter grades. How are your... What? Did I read that? I'm sure you're aware that you're trying to account for all 5 factors is the basic premise, but if you're anything like me, you just want to deliver as much stuff as you can. Am I right? If you could, you can always... Yeah. Nothing wrong with a simple approach. Alright, whatever. Hard work is paying off. I wonder where you are. Alright, whatever. Alright, I do want to read these. I need to take a quick break. I need to use a restroom. I will be back shortly. It should take no more than 5 minutes. Okay. Wait, why am I putting my headphones on? The fuck? Let me just get a swig of water. Okay, let's start off with Die Hardman's first. So, humanity's biggest problem, logistics. And this was 5 years ago over at Bridges HQ. War and famine have been inescapable parts of human life since the rise of our species, and while the fall of America hasn't changed this fundamental truth, it's fair to say that these issues aren't pressing concerns. Can you remember the last time you heard of a prepper dying of starvation, much less someone in a not city? No one's fighting over water or oil or anything else, which isn't to say that people don't occasionally run out of supplies, but that's almost never because of a real shortage. It's usually a problem with logistics. In fact, it was to address such problems that the president created Bridges and developed the chiral network. So yeah, no one's that desperate. Everyone's got enough for themselves, which is what's led to the real problem. It's all too easy for people to become isolated from one another and eventually forget that others even exist. People are free to live for themselves or for the moment without a care for the future. The president understood this better than anyone, and I know just how much it pained her. Chiral contamination. Hartman, 3 years ago, Bridges HQ Lab. Chiral contamination is the result of prolonged exposure to chiral radiation, which is... Did I read this? I don't... why does this sound so familiar? The effects are not dissimilar from those observed in individuals exposed to high levels of stress, levels which can be fatal even. Hold on, I get a cough. Such traumatic experiences can alter hormonal secretions, impair immune response, contribute to heart failure, and induce strokes. The most common symptom of chiral contamination is poor sleep quality due to vivid nightmares. If left unchecked, however, it can quickly progress a more advanced stage in which the aforementioned issues may be observed. The potential impact on an individual's mental health cannot be understated. The resulting hormonal imbalances frequently lead to heightened destructive impulses towards the self and others. Those dominated by such urges are named homodemons, or apparently, I watched an interview with Jenkins, I believe his name, Tommy, and in his third episode of going through the interviews, he said demons. For me, from a linguistic standpoint and like a harmonious symphony of like symbolism, I think it's fair to call them demons, just because like they are quite literally acting as demons. So I'll proceed as such. Those dominated by such urges are named homodemons, the mad ones. In the case of some porters, such as mules, impaired memory and judgment has led them to develop an irrational obsession with their profession, hence the homogestalt moniker. While it should be feasible and preferable for most individuals to avoid chiral contamination at all costs, there are those with a demonstrated resistance who need not be so cautious. I speak, of course, of doom's sufferers. The discovery of beaches and the concept of death. With the discovery of the beach, the fundamental truth of death has been upended or upended. I think it's upended. I doubt you will find many who could deny this. Alas, we can say little with confidence in any objective or scientific capacity, for our understanding of this new realm remains in its infancy and is ever evolving, much like our understanding of the universe as a whole. Perhaps the closest thing we have to a working explanation of the beach relates to the conception of a multiverse, but I digress. The beach is arguably both a concept and a reality. A discrete beach is influenced by the mind of the associated individual and therefore linked to them irrevocably. This is why we have so energetically pursued the psychological, psychoanalytical, and neuroscientific angles when attempting to create a unified theory of the Death Stranding, the beach, and related phenomena. There was a fad a while back in which subjects underwent counseling in order to learn more about their beaches and in so doing gain a greater understanding of the nature of death. Doom's sufferers in particular provided excellent opportunities for study. An interesting theoretical question arose during that period. If a person's beach was a product of their consciousness, might animals have beaches as well? A conundrum on the surface, perhaps, but one quickly resolved. Only human corpses undergo necrosis and become BTs, which proves somewhat conclusively that only a human can possess a beach. And yet this begs another question. If all that is required is consciousness, akin to that of a human, could an AI have a beach? An android? I, for one, do not believe so. Why? Because the function of our beaches is to connect the worlds of the living and the dead. If an entity was never born, has not truly lived, and will never know death, surely it cannot have a beach. Which makes a lot of sense, quite frankly. Like, the fundamental premise of this particular article or this particular interview is it is obviously talking about the subject matter, which is the discovery of beaches and the concept of death. What my sort of question is that we see multiple forms of BTs, right? And I think I was wrong in what my curiosity was when I originally played back in 2019, where unfortunately I have to say something that is considerably within spoiler territory. So like I'd say skip 5 minutes ahead, give or take, yeah, for anyone who's watching this VOD or watching on the YouTube channel. So like back in 2019, I was very vehement with tackling BTs and like farming them for material, which is the chiral matter, and like it was really just fun. I enjoy combat to like a magnanimous degree, and for me, I was undergoing the undulating questions in my mind where they are experiencing, or rather we are being provided different forms of BTs in their combat form, where one looks like a lion and the other looks like a whale or a dolphin. No, a dolphin, I think. Something along those lines. Something that's underwater. And so these lions, these dolphins, these are different forms. And clearly, they are tied to the 5 mass extinctions, the different eras of which the Earth has lived and died, to go through a series of rebirth going forward. And I thought that how are these particular BTs formulating these particular iterations when, if it's strictly based off of this particular premise that Hartman was that has presented, where referencing right now, it is where is it? An interesting theoretical question arose during that period. If a person's beach was a product of their consciousness, might animals have beaches as well? A conundrum on the surface, perhaps, but one quickly resolved. All a human corpses undergo necrosis, and become BTs, which proves somewhat conclusively that only a human can possess a beach, which is interesting. So my question then becomes, if that is the case, and if humans are the only one that can possess a beach and can become BTs, then if we are referencing the five mass extinctions and the five extinction entities, uh, with what is to come later on in this gameplay, in this run through, my question is how do we have five extinction entities that signify the five mass extinctions if only humans can human corpses can undergo necrosis and become BTs, which leads to the idea that how can only humans possess a beach when we have the foreshadowing as well as the symbolic representation as well as the quite literal representation that there are five extinction entities, which should beg the significant relation to the idea that there are five mass extinctions, are which are quite literally tackled in direct capacity as this game continues. So that's my question. And why are the BTs that are coming forth from human corpses able to display these these forms of might that look like animals, particularly lions and dolphins and later on whales, as well as like just this huge giant, and all these different forms are magnanimous and beautiful forms of these enemies. But my question sort of delves into the idea: how are these forms in particular? How do they come forth? Is it because of the Ha and the Ka? Is it because of all these particular forms, like of these enemies when when we transition into combat with them? Is it because of the Ha and the Ka? Is it because of their souls taking on forms that are very destructive and mighty and powerful in the form of their BTs? I don't know. It's something that I very much want to ponder, because I wonder why these BTs that originate from human corpses, why do they have animal forms, especially when how do I say this? Especially when BTs are originally to come into fruition strictly from a human corpse. And there are five extinction entities that we are shown from the very beginning. That is no spoiler. That there is no way for me to spoil anything on that regard. It foreshadows that there are five mass extinctions, and that is referenced already from the beginning of the game. So I have to. It is within my desire to understand this game even further and what Kojima was thinking about. And I want to know, within the realm of this game, how does the idea of these different forms that these particular enemies of BTs have, why do they come and go as they are? And why... I mean, the logistics of it is one, because it's honestly really cool to have different enemy designs and have a transformation phase of these enemies that we see everywhere. It's really cool, and like, it's great. It's visually appealing. It's amazing. Like, there's no arguing that. But what is the significance in the game's history? What is the significance being referenced? And for me, I love this game so much, and I just want to understand it better, because I don't think I know enough about this game.
Take a look. This is what the world looked like hundreds of millions of years ago. It was just one big continent. And do you know what this is? The moon. get the real thing soon. I promise. The whole wide world will be yours to explore. You'll be able to go wherever you want. Even the moon.
Another reason why I love this game is because it just so happens to coincide with like my mission in life to find freedom, to be liberated from the shackles of which I find myself bound to because of the hellfire inside of me from the sins of my past, the sins of who I used to be, and everything that haunts me. It for me, on a personal level, on a very, very, very personal level, for me, I freedom is something that I treasure and hold near and dear to my heart. I want freedom for everyone that I interact with, no matter what. It doesn't matter like how many conflicts that it facilitates, because when people have freedom, they also have the freedom to counter exactly what you bring to the table, right? It is within their freedom to do so, just as much as it may be within my freedom to express my philosophies, my ideologies, as well as what feelings that I am experiencing that will lead me to enact my ideologies and philosophies to contend against someone else's ideologies and philosophies. And I use that freedom to express who I am, to help develop who I am, so that I can best figure out what's going to be the best version of who I am in the future. Because I need to use my past, I need to use my pain, I need to use my punishment to help me grow as a person. And without that, how am I going to change anything in the future? How am I going to change anything for myself? It doesn't make any logical sense if I don't have that critical capacity to look at myself from a multitude of perspectives. And I think that it is necessary for me to reflect time and time again if I want to understand where I came from, whence I came from, and where I want to go. I don't think I have much of a choice. So, this is what's on my mind. I go here. I go here. Go here. Go here. Go here. Go there. There. And then I have to get through mule territory. Have to. No matter what. And then here. Here. Once I get to mule territory, I have to equip the strand. The strand weapon. So I have to do what I can to make sure that I'm not debilitated by these forces, because it will only serve to impede my gameplay, and I don't want it to happen. I have to properly equip myself to fight against these different forces that serve to impede upon, quite literally, the freedom of my movement. The game is the game is stuttering. I don't know why. Like on my end, it's being really weird. From time to time, it looks like as if the visuals are that's so weird. So on my TV, it's stuttering from time to time. It's not often. It's just random. But on the, as far as I can observe on the stream, it's not acting up at all. So it might be like a visual feedback that's acting up on my TV. Just some communicative issues between the TV and the PS4. Man, I think I drank too much water. Speaking of which, I had for breakfast today, I had a protein shake, which is so fucking dank. Like, when I, and throughout this journey of like getting back into like fitness and training, I've gotten so lazy with eating and like chewing, particularly not eating. There are times when I'm just like, man, can I just like drink my calories? I don't feel like chewing. And I was able to get a reserve off of like one of the major suppliers of like one of the major warehouse suppliers of groceries, and it is just, it's sick. It is amazing knowing that I have like a reserve. Like I usually just have one serving of like the protein shake. Well, it's not really a shake, it's a drink. The protein drink where I get like 30 grams of protein, and like other miscellaneous calories are from like carbs and fats, and in total it's 160 calories. So I'm getting 160 calories with like magnanimous quality and ratio of macros. So I always look at calories first because I'm like, dude, I don't really give a shit. I just want to feed. I want to feed my body to grow and be stronger, because that's like, without that I can't really progress. And right now I have to focus on feeding my body this entire weekend so that it can repair itself from the pain and punishment that I was undergoing for the past 8 to 9 weeks, with no designated break, back off, back downs, or deloads in particular. And I think that in the event that I have to in the event that this is actually like, it's good that like I faced this punishment this week, because it will serve as a lesson for me to further facilitate the constraints of my program, where I need to implement deloads at fixed intervals, probably like every 6 to 8 weeks. It seems like my current limit is the 9th week, so I'd say every 8 weeks. So every 2 months. Or maybe every 9th week. Every 9th week, I will implement a deload. So there will be full 8 weeks of like strong pain and punishment of training. And then the 9th week will be a proper deload. Instead of 10 to 20%, I'm probably going to push it down to like 40% back downs on all movements, just so I'm just practicing movement. And I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna do tempo movements. Yeah, the stream is fine and the TV is stuttering. I think something is going incorrectly between the feedback for the TV from the PS4 or the other way around. I mean, the information is being transferred from the PS4, so I assume that really it's just the I assume it's from the PS4 onto the TV and something is just not communicating correctly. I have to fight them. Like, no matter what, I have to fight them. Okay. So I have 2 enemies. It's not bad. I'm gonna tackle them. I have to. And I think once I get to the destination, I think I'm gonna call it quits for the morning stream. I do have other stuff that I need to do. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Alright, so I have 2 approaching me. And I should have 1 more. No, I have 2 more. And this one is no, it's not gonna toss his spear at me. Alright, so 1 more is approaching me. That should be the last one, unless there's more enemies and deeper into... Yeah, that's what I mean. He's tossing his lance at me. And now he's gonna start charging at me, so this is good. So that should be the end of them, unless there's more deeper into mule territory. Do I have enough room on my cargo? 104. And that means I would have to 80, 44. These are good material to have. But I think I'm gonna have to bail on them because I don't have any more room. And if I take them, what's gonna happen is that it's gonna place me in a very, I think the right word is precarious scenario where I will have to drop my available hands to carry luggage, cargo, and I will not be able to parry and defend myself against the the incoming enemies, whether it be mules or trying to escape from the BTs, and I just don't think that's worth it. So I'm gonna leave the cargo behind because I do have the mission to accomplish, and that takes precedence over extra cargo. I think that in my 2019 gameplay, my playthrough at that time, I was unable to understand that because I remember very much so traversing through the lands and traversing through the entirety of the gameplay where I was very stubborn and I was just like, yeah, let me just stack myself as much as possible, like pick up everything even from the enemies, it doesn't matter, just get everything from point A to point B, and it doesn't matter how many enemies I fight, just drop everything on the ground, take them down, and get back into the zone of like transporting cargo. And I'm just like, these days, I'm like, yeah, I kind of have the same mentality, but there's a certain limitation to how much I want to deal with dropping cargo time and time and time and time again, you know? Like, I kind of just want to enjoy the ride. Or, in this case, the walk there. And part of the walk, for me, that I want to enjoy is defending myself against the enemies. And I don't want to have to worry about miscellaneous variables such as the shenanigans of dropping cargo and picking a cargo back up because all it's available to carry the cargo on my hands. And my back is overloaded. So I'd rather not have to deal with that. What time is it? I'm an hour 19 into the stream. If I'm doing math correctly, because I have stuff to do, I just want to make sure I'm not neglecting the time window. What am I picking up?
There we go.
Memory chip? That's nice.
Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. Cargo verified. Thank you. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, boy.
Delivering cargo.
I'm so glad you're here. You always take such good care of our cargo. All right then. Thanks for everything.
Good work. New order available. Please access to...
Wow, I actually dropped a lot of cargo. Okay, so let me just share the memory chip data. Or data.
Oh, this will be right at home in my collection.
Thank you for your contribution.
Okay, so let's pick up some new orders. Let me just recycle if I need to. This is always the sort of, for me personally, the troubling part about like management, cargo management, resource management.
Thank you for your continued support.
Because I can't ever for the life of me remember like am I supposed to recycle this? Which I am. I just forget. And now I can take on new orders. Particularly, I want to bring something over from here to there, from here to Capital Knot City. Ideally, retrieval. I have to retrieve something. I can retrieve it on the way back, and then from here to there. I actually don't know. It's if I retrieve it, it's an 86 kilogram cargo. I can't handle that if I'm bringing something back from Capital Knot City. So let's just take on this order from here to there. Okay. Yeah. So that's not bad. And yeah, this is cool. This is nice. Skip.
Thank you for your contribution.
Oh, it's time set. Okay, I need to save because I need to end the stream. That's about it. And yeah, I will be back tonight with Death Stranding again. That will be in 12 hours. 12 hours earliest. So it is 7:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back like earliest 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Most likely an hour to 2 hours after that. All right, I'll be back later.